Samtatodayam Vidye Nashtapreshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtake Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksharon Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sati Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We're reading from Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 14. The conversation between Vidur and Maitreya. You had that, please. So, Tanchochya Shayo Shochayan Avido Anushoche Hare Kathayam Vimukhan Again Shinoti Devo Nimishastu Yesham Ayur Ritavada Gati Smritina. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O sage persons who because of their sinful activities are averse to the topics of transcendence and thus ignorant of the purpose of the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, are pitied by the pitiable. I also pity them because I see how the duration of life is spoiled by eternal time while they involve themselves in presentations of philosophical speculation, theoretical ultimate goals of life, and different modes of ritual. According to the modes of material nature, there are three kinds of relationships between human beings and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are in the modes of ignorance and passion are averse to the existence of God, or else they formally accept the existence of God in the capacity of an order supplier. So here Vidur is telling to Maitreya that it's such a pity that people who are just speaking on Mahabharata, they are speaking of the stories of Mahabharata without understanding that the goal of Mahabharata is to come to the point of Bhagavad Gita. And then the full essence of Bhagavad Gita is to surrender unto the person, Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how do we do that? Chant the Hare Krishna mantra, always think of me, become my devotee. But instead of coming to that point, people just get so much involved in speaking about the different plots and schemes of Mahabharata. And so Vidur is saying, he pities such people. And then also it is being said that there are three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And then the persons in the mode of ignorance and passion, they, because of each of us is envious of Krishna, and that's the reason we are here in the material world. We don't know it. We might not know it. No, how can I be envious of Krishna? But because we want to be the controller, we want to be the enjoyer, we want to be the owner, and so we do not have those capacities. It's only Krishna who has them, and we want to take his position. So the people in modes of ignorance and passion have this deep envy for Krishna, to deny that, oh, there is no God. There's no God. Or even if there's a God, then God is there only that I should pray, and then all whatever I desire should be fulfilled. That's the capacity of an order supplier, that I should ask God, you do this for me, and it should be done. And that is their relationship with God. Above them are those who are in the mode of goodness. This second class of men believe the Supreme Brahman to be impersonal. They accept the cult of bhakti, in which hearing of Krishna Katha is the first item, as a means and not the end. So in the mode of goodness, somebody is cultivating the knowledge of what is matter, what is spirit. And then they come to the point of Supreme Brahman, that God is Supreme Brahman. But what is that fault is that I will do bhakti here now. I will engage in hearing and chanting about Krishna till the time I'm in this body. And then once I leave the body, I am going to become the Supreme Brahman. So I do not need to continue to hear and chant. Then I will be situated in, I'm going to merge into the Brahman. So then the bhakti ends there. Above them are those who are pure devotees. They are situated in the transcendental stage above the mode of material goodness. Such persons are decidedly convinced that the name, form, fame, qualities, etc. of the personality of Godhead are non-different from one another on the absolute plane. For them, hearing of the topics of Krishna is equal to meeting with him face to face. So the pure devotees are, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param in 1854, chapter 18, text 54. What does that mean? That bhakti starts from a liberated platform. You see, everyone is trying to be liberated. I want to, mujhe mukti chahiye. I want to become liberated. Yeah, people, we go around, people keep saying, I want to get liberated. I want to be liberated. But what does a pure devotee do? Pure devotee engages in bhakti, and bhakti starts from this liberated platform. As soon as somebody engages in bhakti, that is the liberated platform. Why? Because the pure devotee, he knows that there is no difference between Krishna himself, Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna, all the things related to Krishna. They're all on the absolute platform. They know that there is a difference between Krishna and themselves. The devotee never thinks themselves as equal to Krishna. So when they are hearing, for them, hearing of the topics of Krishna is equal to meeting him face to face. According to this class of men who are situated in pure devotional service to the Lord, the highest goal of human life is Purusartha, devotional service to the Lord, the real mission of life. So once a reporter had asked Prabhupada, what are you going to get by chanting this Hare Krishna mantra? What are you going to get it? You're just saying chant Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said, more chanting. There is no end to bhakti. It's not that we give up this body. After we give up this body, then I do not need to do bhakti. I will become God myself. No. What? We do bhakti here, and then we go back home, back to Godhead, and we continue to do bhakti there. We continue to hear and chant. We continue to perform devotional service. So that's the reason for the devotee. There is no difference where he stays. The pure devotees, they're on that platform. For us, You should always have a desire, I want to go back home, back to Godhead. You know? The impersonalists, because they engage in mental speculation, have no faith in the personality of Godhead, have no business hearing the topics of Krishna. Such persons are pitiable for the first class pure devotees of the Lord. The pitiable impersonalists pity those who are influenced by the modes of ignorance and passion. But the pure devotees of the Lord take pity on them both, because both waste their valuable time in the human form of life, in false pursuits, namely sense enjoyment and mental speculative presentations of different theories and goals of life. So even the impersonalists, the Jnani, what they are doing is by the word jugglery, by their mental capacity, they are trying to understand God with that. And so that's the reason their attempt is frustrated. It is a waste of time. And so the devotees tell them, why are you wasting your time? You know, take up devotional service. It's a sure short way. And then the Jnanis, they are taking pity on the karmis, the persons in the modes of passion and ignorance, because they're saying, oh, you're just engaging in sense enjoyment. That's all you want. Why don't you cultivate Jnana? But being a pure devotee of the Lord is higher than just engaging in sense gratification and knowledge. So here, that's what Vidur is saying, that he pities such people. Why pity? Because time is very valuable. How much life do we have, you know? How much actually time do we have if we go to see? We might think, oh, I am going to live very long time. But if we see in our day, we have so many different activities that we have to do. We have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to, you know, do some work. Then if there's some emergencies, do that. So how much time do we actually have to hear and chant? It's not much. So if that time also we are going to waste, then how are we going to get the highest goal of human life? And that is love of Krishna, love of God. Is that okay?
Yes, yeah, very true. Where is the time? This time is very short.
Yeah, that's what Prahlad Maharaj, he said that, okay, we are only 5 years old, he was telling his friends, but you see, there is actually no time. We might say, I'll live for so many years, but how many years of our life is going to go in sleeping? 6 to 8 hours a night, we calculate. How much time we'll go, you know, do all the emergency things we need to do. So we should try our best that whatever, whenever we are able to hear and chant, we should do that, associate with the devotees. Text 15. Tad asya kausharava sarma dhatur hare katham eva katha susaram udratya pushpebhya ivarta bando shivaya na kirtaya tirtha kirtehe. O Maitreya, O friend of the distressed, the glories of the Supreme Lord can alone do good for people all over the world. Therefore, just as bees collect honey from flowers, kindly describe the essence of all topics, the topics of the Lord. So here Vidur is saying the essence of all topics. There are so many topics in human society, sociology, economics, politics, fiction. I mean, you know, there's so many topics we have. But what's the essence of all of them? Krishna Katha, topics of the Lord. There are many topics for different persons in different modes of material nature. But the essential topics are those in relationship with the Supreme Lord. Unfortunately, materially affected conditioned souls are more or less averse to topics of the Supreme Lord because some of them do not believe in the existence of God, and some of them believe only in the impersonal feature of the Lord. In both cases, there is nothing for them to say of God. Both the non-believers and the impersonalists deny the essence of all topics. Therefore, they engage in topics of relativity in various ways, either in sense gratification or in mental speculation. For the pure devotees like Vidur, the topics of both the mundaners and the mental speculators are useless in all respects. Thus, Vidur requested Maitreya to talk of the essence only, the talks of Krishna and nothing else. So when we don't believe in the existence of God, then of course we are not going to speak about his pastimes. And if we think that God is just light, again there is no pastimes in light. It's just light, it's just there. So in both the cases, they don't have anything to speak about God. But the devotees, because they know that God exists and he has this form and he performs that pastimes, they are just interested to hear about those pastimes. And by hearing the pastimes, what happens? All the miseries of our material nature goes away. It's blissful to hear the Krishna Katha. Bhagavatam says that those who are not hearing Krishna Katha, although they are breathing, then their breathing is just like the bellows of the blacksmith. It is just, they're just cutting with each rising and setting of the sun, the life is just being taken away. But for the devotees of the Lord, even with the rise and setting of the sun, there's no loss. Why? Because they are engaging in the highest Krishna Katha. So we should try to give this Krishna Katha to everyone, make everyone fortunate. Sa Vishwa Janma Sthiti Samyamarthe Krita Avatara Pratigrita Shaktihi Chakara Karmani Ati Purushani Yanishvaraha Kirtayatani Mayam. Kindly chant all those superhuman transcendental activities of the Supreme Controller, the Personality of Godhead, who accepted incarnations fully equipped with all potency for the full manifestation and maintenance of the cosmic creation. Vidur was undoubtedly very eager to hear about Lord Krishna in particular, but he was overwhelmed because Lord Krishna had just passed away from the visible world. He therefore wanted to hear about him in his Purusha incarnations, which he manifests with full potencies for the creation and maintenance of the cosmic world. The activities of the Purusha incarnations are but an extension of the activities of the Lord. This hint was given by Vidur to Maitreya because Maitreya could not decide which part of the activities of Lord Krishna should be chanted. So Krishna's pastimes of creating the universe, of creating the material world, is also the same as his lifting the Govardhan hill, because they are all his pastimes. It's Krishna who's doing it, and because it's related to Krishna, even the creation of this material world, his pastime of creating, is transcendental.
So here, in fact, Vidur is telling Maitreya.
Vidur is saying, please let's speak about the creation. Vidur actually wants to hear about the personal pastimes of Krishna, but he's saying, let's hear about the creation first. Because Maitreya couldn't decide which topic to speak on. So yeah, Vidur is saying, let's hear. Please speak to me about this topic. Shri Shukovacha sa evam bhagavan prishtaha shatrako sharava munihi pumsam nihit shreyash sarthena tam aha bahumanayan. Sukadev Goswami said, the great sage Maitreya Muni, after honoring Vidur very greatly, began to speak at Vidur's request for the greatest welfare of all people. The great sage Maitreya Muni is described here as Bhagavan because he surpassed all ordinary human beings in learning and experience. Thus, his selection of the greatest welfare service for the world is considered authoritative. The all-inclusive welfare service for the entire human society is devotional service to the Lord, and as requested by Vidur, The sage described the same very appropriately. So here Prabhupada is saying that Maitreya Muni is referred to as Bhagwan, not because he's God, but he's a great personality. How we say Shiv Bhagwan, or we'll say, we do say that. So it doesn't mean that they're God. They have these great qualities higher than human beings. They're higher than human beings. So that's why they are called that. But they're not God. God is only one. And then, thus, his selection of the greatest welfare service. There's so many different ways that people want to do welfare for others. We see so much philanthropy going on, so much charity, so much, because people want to do welfare for others. But what is the highest welfare? What is the highest welfare? Is to speak to them topics about Krishna, give them the holy name, give them Hare Krishna. Why is that the highest welfare? Anybody? Why is giving Krishna the highest welfare for human society? Would anybody like to say that? Well, because when we are giving, for example, when we are helping people with different types of items like food or giving them education, protection, all those are needed, yes. Not that we shouldn't do it. We should do it, that to protect them, but that's all related to the body. But together with that, we should give them knowledge of Krishna, of knowledge of the self, that we are not the body, we are the soul. And then that's how it's the highest welfare, because then they know, oh, I don't need to be here in the material world. I have to go back home. That's the reason, getting them connected to the eternal, to their eternal relationship with Krishna. Does it mean that we shouldn't do the other welfare activities? Well, we should do, of course. We should help people who are in distress. Somebody is hungry, we should give them prasad. Connect them to Krishna, somehow or the other. Connect them to Krishna. So, text 18. Maitreya Vacha Sadhu Prishtam Tvaya Sadho Lokan Sadva Anugranata Kirtim Vitta Vitanvata Loke Atmano Adhoksha Jatmanaha. Sri Maitreya said, O Vidar, all glory unto you. You have inquired from me of the greatest of all goodness, and thus you have shown your mercy both to the world and to me, because your mind is always absorbed in thoughts of transcendence. Maitreya Muni, who was experienced in the science of transcendence, could understand that Vidur's mind was fully absorbed in transcendence. Adhokshaja means that which transcends the limits of sense perception or sensuous experience. The Lord is transcendental to our sense experience, but he reveals himself to the sincere devotee. Because Vidur was always absorbed in thought of the Lord, Maitreya could estimate Vidur's transcendental value. He appreciated the valuable inquiries of Vidur and thus thanked him with great honor. So Maitreya Muni could understand Vidur's position as a pure devotee of the Lord. And then he is congratulating. He's saying, glory unto you, Vidur. Why? Why all glory unto you? You have inquired for me of the greatest of all goodness. And thus you have shown your mercy both to the world and to me. So speaking of Krishna Katha, everyone is benefited. The speaker, the hearer, and others who will hear the topics later. So because Vidur asked these questions to Maitreya, we are able to hear the topics and we are able to derive the greatest benefit from it. And that's how the topics of Lord Krishna are. There's so many conversations between so many great personalities, presidents of the nations, great entertainers. There's so many talk shows to ask people about what they are doing, question and answer, so much. But it's only that the conversations of the devotees which give the greatest welfare to one and all. So we should try to give this welfare to everyone, connect everyone to Krishna and help them to uh, go back home, back to Godhead. Don't come back to this material world. You will want to read one more or stop here?
If it is short, I think we can do one more.
Okay. Text 19. Naita chitram tvai shatar bhadrayana viryaje grihito anya bhavena yatvaya harir ishvaraha. O Vidar, it is not at all wonderful that you have so accepted the Lord without deviation of thought, for you were born from the semen of Vyasadeva. The value of great parentage and noble birth is evaluated here in connection with the birth of Vidur. The culture of a human being begins when the father invests his semen in the womb of the mother. So we can see here that right at the point of conception, it's not that the soul enters the body in the womb of the mother after the child is 7 months or 6 months or 3 months, as many people say. No, it's right at conception that the soul is entering. According to his status of work, a living entity is placed in a particular father's semen, and because Vidur was not an ordinary living entity, he was given the chance to be born from the semen of Vyas. The birth of a human being is a great science, and therefore, reformation of the act of impregnation, according to the Vedic ritual called Garbhadan Samskar, is very important for generating good population. So Vidur, he is Yamaraj himself. He's one of the Mahajans. He's a great devotee of the Lord. And so that's the reason Krishna arranged for him to take birth through the semen of Vyasadeva, who is an empowered incarnation of Krishna himself. So a great parentage that Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that because Arjuna asks him, what is the destination of those who are on the path of devotional service, but they're not able to complete it before they leave the body? Then Krishna says that in the next life, they will be taken birth in family of great transcendentalists. They will get a chance, again, right from their very birth, to engage in devotional service of the Lord. And Gardhan Samskar is the purificatory process which both the husband and wife do before they involve in the act of union. Why? To invite a devotee soul. The problem is not to check the growth of the population, but to generate good population on the level of Vidur, Vyasa, and Maitreya. There is no need to check the growth of population if the children are born as human beings with all precautions regarding their birth. So-called birth control is only vicious, not only vicious, but also useless. So Prabhupada is pointing out that if everyone in the world is devotee, they are all devotees, they are great personalities, then there is no need to say that, there's too many people in the world, we have to have to check how many people are being born. Because if they are great personalities, they are devotees, they are on the mode of goodness, they are for sure going to do good for everyone. And Prabhupada is pointing out that artificially trying to do birth control is of no use, it's useless. We can see here, artificially we try to control, but because we are not on that level of goodness, we are not able to do welfare of other human beings. And then we are creating problems for each other. And that's the reason the state of affairs in society comes to that point. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to know, like you said that Vidur is born from the semen of Vyasadeva, right? So then how the other Dhritarashtra and Pandu.
All are from Vyasadeva.
But
Yes.
then, if it's from the same, I mean, the semen of Vyasadeva, how come those two were not so, um, not in that high level, devotee
Yeah.
compared to Vidur?
Yeah. Pandu is a pure devotee. Pandu is a devotee. That's how the
Yeah, of
Pandavas
course.
become his
Right.
sons. And
Right.
but Dhritarashtra, it's true. He is not a devotee of the Lord. So because the Lord also shows that our independent will is so important, that even if you're born in the family of devotees, what is our desire? What is each of our desire? That is what choices are we making? That is what is important. So Krishna has shown that time and again, that in his own family, there are people who are there in his own family, like Shishupal was his relative, but he was the greatest demon.
Mm.
Krishna has shown that even if you're next to me, even if you're in my family, but what's your desire? But of course the devotees, but then you see how in Kali Yuga, Krishna made Haridas Thakur. He was born
Mm.
in a low family.
Okay.
Yeah, he was born in a low
I
family.
think he was in a Muslim family, no?
Yeah,
He was born from a.
yeah, and then he got the highest status of Namacharya.
Mm.
So actually, on a transcendental platform, birth is irrelevant, but these facilities are given. Facilities are given to the devotees so that from the very birth, they are given the opportunity to engage in devotional service. Hear about Krishna. So we'll stop here for today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining in. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari.